What's up, everyone? Welcome to Quality Control. I'm your host, Grant Cohn. And the Niners are so interesting. We're gonna be talking about Eddie D's judgment of their franchise, of his brother-in-law, of his nephew. He said something very interesting last night. I'm going to talk about how the Niners really missed an opportunity to be a dynasty. But every time it looks like they're just about at the end of the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era, where their bad decisions have caught up to them, finally. Something happens, presents itself to them, which gives them new life. And if they can it was Brock Purdy, it was Christian McCaffrey. Now it's Jim Schwartz. The Cleveland Browns could have hired him to be their head coach. He would have been a great head coach. Instead, they went with Todd Monken, who was the offensive coordinator in Baltimore. You can understand why. They have a young quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. They're probably going to draft another young quarterback. They need someone who can develop a quarterback, and I guess Todd Monken has some experience. He did a pretty good job with Lamar Jackson, although he was already developed, and he was a college coach. So they went with Monken. So Schwartz is upset, and now he's available. And I know he would be freaking perfect for the 49ers because he runs their system. He's the OG of their system. And before I talk about Schwartz, isn't it weird that Kyle Shanahan, like, you're a system coach, okay, you have your system on offense and you love it, but like, why are you so wedded to a defensive system? Why are you forcing every defensive coach to have the same system? Like, is there any other offensive coach in the league that you can think of that's that micromanaging of the side of the team he doesn't even control? Okay, that's enough of that. Jim Schwartz, he pretty much created the wide nine. He's much more aggressive than Robert Saleh, than what's his name? Oh yeah, Gus Bradley. He's a head coach. He probably should be the Cleveland Browns head coach right now. He had some success in Detroit as a head coach. Probably should get another chance. He's always been a great defensive coordinator. He's kind of like Vic Fangio. He has that kind of gravitas. And if the 49ers were to get Jim Schwartz, they just might win the Super Bowl. He's that good. He gives them everything they need. He might be an upgrade over Robert Saleh. He would fill in all of Kyle Shanahan's gaps and weaknesses. He's older than Kyle Shanahan. He's more experienced. He could maybe, disagree with Kyle sometimes, challenge Kyle, bring out the best in Kyle, and Kyle could bring out the best in him. Kyle's 2-9 in his career against Jim Schwartz. So, as Ryan Hensley pointed out on Twitter, this prevents, Schwartz going to the Cardinals, and being someone the Niners have to face twice a year. So the Browns, there was a very real chance that the Niners weren't even going to get an opportunity to get Jim Schwartz, which is probably why they brought in Gus Bradley and made him assistant head coach and had him shadow Robert Saleh around. And the plan, most likely, is to hire Gus Bradley as the defensive coordinator and have him groom KJ Wright, and sort of have Bradley be Timu version of Saleh, and then KJ Wright can maybe be Timu version of D'Amico Ryans. Linebacker, same trajectory, path. Okay, maybe that works, but this is way better. And instead of trying to recreate something that worked 5-6 years ago with, lesser versions of the guys who are gone, just bring in an older coach who's going to be here for a while or not. Who cares, dude? Just, put it this way. Bring in the best coach available, and it's Jim Schwartz. And so it's such a no-brainer. I wonder if the 49ers will do it. That's my question. Do you think Jim Schwartz would want to coach for the 49ers? Like, why wouldn't he? If you're a good defensive coordinator and you come to the 49ers, chances are in a year or two, you'll be a head coach somewhere else. Don't you think Jim Schwartz thinks he's a better coach than Robert Saleh? Don't you think Jim Schwartz is looking at Robert Saleh like the only reason you're on your second head coaching job is because you were around Kyle Shanahan? Put me around Kyle Shanahan, we win the Super Bowl. We don't give up a 10-point lead to Patrick Mahomes with 6 minutes left in the game. I bet that's what he thinks. I bet he'd be into coaching Nick Bosa. They already have Chris Kaserik, who was his defensive line coach in Detroit 15 years ago. Like, it'd be a real easy transition. They could give him, a gift certificate to Chick-fil-A, Jamba Juice. He could be the king of Santa Clara. He could go to Top Golf all he wants. I could take him. The question is Kyle Shanahan, man. It's so easy to give the job to Gus Bradley. He's your friend. He's nice. People like him. He was in charge of the red zone defense, and the red zone defense was actually pretty good. Doesn't this sound exactly like Nick Sorensen? He was popular, one of the guys. And he led the ball meeting. Remember that on Thursday nights, which was all about turnovers, getting the ball, protecting the ball. Someone called him the czar of turnovers. Remember that? That was dumb. And then he gets the job because he has this innate ability to get the team to not only force turnovers but protect the football, and he's friends with everyone. And then he gets the job, and it's like, oh wait, we can't force turnovers anymore. Maybe that was just lucky. Maybe it was a function of the players we had. Maybe it was a function of Steve Wilkes, who's gone, and now you got this chucklehead who's never called plays before, can't force a turnover, can't get off the field on third down or stop anyone in the red zone. I don't like him anymore. He's no longer amusing and charming. I don't like his stories. I don't like his face. It's kind of how that went. So, Gus Bradley, you're popular. People think you're cool and deep. Yeah, and until you're rushing for every single play and getting shredded. I mean, he hasn't been on the best teams. He was in Indianapolis for 3 years. He had to force Buckner. Like, why did they get rid of him? They got rid of him for Lou Anarumo, who's not good. So it just felt like the real easy way. Like, hey, we'd like to have Robert Saleh forever, but he's only going to be a one and done. So maybe we can get knockoff Robert Saleh and no one will notice. But we do. And now, instead of getting some knockoff Jordans from Western Union for $89.99 that you have to wait 4 weeks for, and then they don't fit and they fall apart. I've done that. You can just get the real J's. That's what Schwartz is. I hope Kyle Shanahan, you just have to be secure within yourself to have a coach on your staff who's way older than you and has been doing this since you were in high school and might yell at you or disagree with you. Like, are you cool with that? Because you know who won't do that? Gus Bradley, man. He'll smile. He'll do whatever you tell him to do. He'll let you micromanage him and meddle as much as you want. Jim Schwartz will tell you to get the hell out of there. That's what you need. You need to focus on offense anyway, Kyle, because the last time you had a game, you scored 6 points. You need to focus 100%. Just pretend that you're the offensive coordinator of the team because your offense is getting stale. Let Jim Schwartz be the defensive coordinator and pseudo head coach the way that DeMeco Ryans was and Robert Saleh was. If you're not going to fire Kyle Shanahan, this is the second best thing. Bring in Jim Schwartz. And then if Kyle Shanahan flops, you got a potential replacement in-house in Jim Schwartz, because if the Niners ever replace Kyle Shanahan, I'm done with the offensive play callers. I'm done with the offensive play callers as head coaches. I like Ben Johnson. We'll see if he ever gets over the hump. I feel like these offensive play callers get real close. And then they're the reason their team freaking flops at the end because they go for it on fourth down when they shouldn't, or they go for two when they shouldn't, or vice versa, or they don't challenge a play, or they do that stuff. So bring in Jim Schwartz if you have the guts. I double freaking dare you. I triple dog dare you, Kyle. If you don't get Jim Schwartz, it's because, in my mind, you didn't want the smoke.